You're so ridiculous. Oh my God.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to
Like, wait,
the
what?
Book Club, chapter 19 through 23. She just read my comment, so.
Oh my gosh, you're so ridiculous. How's everybody doing? Now you made the vein in my forehead pop out. Oh my gosh. How is everybody doing? Now you made me lose my train of thought. I literally saw that just as we were about to come live. And so I'm like, what does that, who made that comment? That's hilarious. He was wearing a sweater earlier today, and we ran to the chiropractor, did a couple of little errands, and he was sweating like a crazy man. And so I'm like, so then I'm like, I can't believe you're going to try to wear that on the live. This room gets really hot, so we have to leave the door open. And so we changed it. And he's been singing the "I'm a Lumberjack and I Don't Care" for like the last 10 minutes.
And I'm okay.
Oh yeah, and I'm okay. That's hilarious. Hi, Katie. Oh, why is this not coming up? Let's see. Why is this live stream not coming up? Let's see.
Because she's in the wrong one again, but we're at least live on this.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It says live stream chat that we should be able to see it, but the messages aren't popping up. So, oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, my cheeks pinked right up. I know. He's funny. Sometimes he gets me, and I'm just like, "What did you just say?" It cracks me up. So, hey everybody. So I put on here that we were going to be doing chapters 18 through 25 or 18 through 23, but we already did 18.
Yep.
So thank you, Peyton, for becoming a member of our channel. This is so obnoxious that these freaking things will not pop up here. But yeah. So anyways, that one got me. Definitely got my laughing. No, we're not switching rooms again. Sorry about that. So
we figured that one out.
We figured out how that happened, and that was this guy's fault. So he accidentally started a new live instead of clicking onto the live that we already had scheduled, and he didn't realize that that's what he had done. And I didn't know it either because I just came in and saw that we were going, and so I was like, "Oh, sweet, we're done." But we did figure it out. So I apologize for everyone who got on our live last week. And then we figured out we were on a whole different live. So we will on this live be going through chapters 19 through 23. But we might have to pick it up a little bit because there's 40 chapters and that might take us a while. So, but I think the chapters get a little bit smaller as we're going through the book.
Yep.
So, yeah, thank you, Peyton. I appreciate that. But this book is so good. We bought the audio book and we were listening to it as we were cleaning or just doing whatever we were doing. And there was a lot that I missed. I didn't realize that I had missed until now that we're going through it again. And I'm starting to see, oh my gosh, I don't remember reading that. I don't remember. And so people were asking me what I thought about Christine having an addiction to drinking or having to have a drink. And I was like, gosh, I don't remember reading that part in the book, but she does go over that in this part of the book. And so I'm just going to address that one really quick because I think that's pretty common for people who leave high controlled religions, especially that are not allowed to drink. I think they go through periods of their life where everything comes in excess because there's not that filter of learning how to control yourself yet. And because we never have been around it.
You've been controlling yourself the whole time. And when you are basically cast out or told that you are going to hell because of stupid religious beliefs, then all of a sudden everything that you were told that is bad, you're like, all right, let's try it. And so
like, I want to try that. I want to try that.
Yep. See if it really is bad. So
right. And so it's one of those things where I feel like we just didn't know how to control that type of stuff. And so we just didn't. And then, and I know that we are watching I know there was an Amish show on for a while, and I know that they do that with their
Springer.
yeah, they do that with their kids where they get like a certain amount of time in their life where they go out and they experience all of the things, and then they decide if they are going to stay in that religion or not. And I wish that we had something like that, but we don't. Like obviously we never did. And yeah, so we would just go crazy. I remember I hit a point in my life, it was probably I was about mid 30s, wouldn't you say? And I was drinking excessively. And I didn't realize how excessively I was drinking until one day it got out of control with one of my kids. And my oldest daughter, and she started yelling at me, going, "I'm done with you drinking." And yeah, that was a rough one because I didn't realize how excessive I was at it, but I was getting smashed at least once a week. And it took that one little argument with her for me to slow what the heck. And now I very seldom drink like that ever. I mean, I did get pretty tipsy a couple weeks ago and I'm like, wow. And I think that was just because my surgery. And then I was drinking hard alcohol, which I don't really do a lot of hard alcohol anymore. I just try to stick to wine. But yeah, when you've never been around it, you don't know how to filter yourself, then yeah, you need a drink to hang out with your family, especially in these families where there's a million of us, you know? So, um,
well, it was different with us, I guess, because we were raised on blackberry brandy. So
we were too for medicinal purposes, but
so
my mom says that it was for medicinal, but I think she sipped off of it a little here and there. I know there goes a chapstick. That's so funny. So Corey just put a store up on our page. If you saw it, we finally got some sweatshirts up. Thank you guys.
Hats.
I know so many of you guys have purchased stuff already. Thank you so much. You guys are so kind.
But I put chapstick up there
You put chapstick up there.
Because yeah, we use a lot of it. Well, she uses a lot of it. So
I do.
Chapstick shop.
I don't know why I have always had an addiction to chapstick my whole life. I've always had one. It's been really bad. Yeah, Rumspringa. Yeah, that's what Corey was saying too. But so thank you. We really wanted to acknowledge everybody and appreciate everyone for the support of the store that Corey we got up there finally. So we're going to be adding some more. Our daughter's the one who created the song for us. She's helping us to create the store too. And so we'll be putting up some different designs and stuff here soon. But just wanted to say thank you guys for the enormous amount of support that we've already received. Just having that.
A shirt to match my Made in Pinesdale hat.
So somebody said we should be Robin and Cody for Halloween. I think I
could do my curls.
We could nail the shit out of that. I think that's
a great idea. I'd have to probably finish shaving all through here. So
yeah,
I'm getting thin, but I don't have my hairband yet. So
I think we could totally do it. I'm all the way ready to do that. Oh, and we'll come on here. And I probably even have a flower shirt I could wear because Robin is like famous for her flower shirts. I don't know why she does all that. This is another thing that we see a lot in polygamy is sometimes you'll see the really cute, like they're trendy dressers. They're not for what's in polygamy. They're considered trendy dressers, but Robin was that way when she first started coming around. And now it's like, she's really gotten into mom mode hard. So
just got to get a pack of ramen noodles. Yep, I do.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what his facial hair looks like. I can't remember, but I don't know.
You can't shave.
I look like a little kid.
He looks 14 when he shaves his face. Makes me feel wrong, but it's, but still, I mean, I guess you could take one for the team and do it. So
I don't want to look that much like Cody. I think you should dress up as Cody and I'll do Robin.
Done. Let's do it. I'm 100% serious. We could do that.
Because I could act that shit out.
Yeah, you could have you could bring your chainsaw in here like you're a big deal. A big deal. Oh, somebody says, I just realized Robin is only 5 years older than I am. I thought she was way older because of the way she dresses. Yeah, I'm only 4 years older than Robin. So she was born in 77 or 78, I think, and I was born in 74. So we're not even that far apart. But yeah, I think that would be a great idea. So we do want to remind everybody to do your healing work if you haven't started. It's a great time to get started. And when we read stories like this, it definitely reminds us of why we're in a constant state of healing all the time too. Also, somebody had mentioned we were talking about books that people have written in the chat before the live got started, and I'll try to put together a list of some of the books that I'm aware of that I would recommend. I haven't read a lot of them because back in the day I was just angry when I left polygamy and I didn't want to hear anyone else's stories. I didn't care. Dorothy Solomon and I became really good friends there for quite a while, and her dad was Rulin Allred. She wrote quite a few books. She's a writer, and she wrote In My Father's House. She was one of the very first people to leave the AUB and talk about it publicly and then write stories about it. And I just adore her. She's always been one of my very favorite people, and she still to this day speaks about polygamy and speaks out against it. So she is very, very great. And a lot of you have recommended a bunch of different books. I just bought the Sound of Gravel. So we thought about maybe doing a book club on that one after we do this one. If anyone's still interested in doing book club after that, we thought about that might be a fun book to go through. Not a fun book. I'm sure it's going to be a hard book. But I know that Corey's dad wrote several books on the Constitution. I don't think that we'll go over those on our channel, but they can be kind of controversial because they're very constitutionally ran. But Corey's dad wrote several books. There's a lot of people who have come out of polygamy and wrote books. So I think we might do.
He skid out of polygamy, but he was a polygamist when he passed, so still had 2 wives. So.
Yeah. So I think that would definitely. We've enjoyed doing the book club. It really gives us a minute to stop and talk about a lot of stuff. But yeah, I just didn't want to read a lot of polygamy books after I left. It was like I lived that shit. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to hear everyone else's trauma stories. And so I just haven't read a lot of them, but obviously we're getting into talking about it. So we would absolutely be willing to do that again and do book club. We've actually really enjoyed doing the book club. So thank you guys so much for everyone who shared information about the book club too, because we've had a huge turnout and it's been amazing. So thank you guys. See, we're not having some of our stuff pop up, which has been a little bit frustrating. Comments can't come up again for some reason. It says we have them available, but then none of them are popping up. So we won't be able to put comments up again. But we're going to start on chapter 19. It says bringing the boy to the yard. And this one really, I didn't want to cover it last week because there's so much in this chapter that just, it makes me sad. It makes me angry. Because I've watched women fight over the attention of an unworthy man, to be honest. And I just think it's disgusting.
Well, polygamy is set up that way. I mean, in every polygamous family, it is a competition to win the husband's affection and have the house all in order, and you wine and dine him when he comes over so that you and your children can get more one-on-one time or time with him. It's not even one-on-one, depending on how many kids you have, but it's that time you get to spend with the dad or the husband. And if you're making your house clean, good food, all of that stuff, it's to idolize the priesthood holders.
And this is where these men create these God complexes, because everywhere they go, they're treated like royalty. The food is cooked to their liking. The house is decorated to their liking. And so it's really frustrating for me when I read some of this. And then I was such a yes girl when I first got married. I was obviously 8 days into 17. I was very much a yes girl. I did whatever I was told. And it wasn't until a few years into the marriage that I started going, yeah, that's not happening. What were you going to say?
Well, in polygamy, that's called obedient. She was very obedient. That lasted a couple of years, I guess, with her previous husband.
What's hilarious too is that my ex-husband will come around and he'll say something. Corey's like, man, you have no idea who this woman is. She's going to tear your head off right now. And so I did get a lot more outspoken and a lot more, I stood up for myself a lot more, but that's just what this religion does. It breeds a bunch of obedient yes girls. And it's infuriating to try to read some of these chapters. So we start chapter 19 where it says bringing the boy to the yard. And it's just, she talks about having their own houses in Vegas, undoubtedly gave each of the wives the distance that they needed, so that they could figure out who they were individually. And that's one of the really hard parts about polygamy when everyone lives in the same home. Yes, you get more of the family dynamic, but then you lose yourself as an individual person. Now, as a child, it's great because there's a million other kids to play with. I mean, I guess I can't really always speak for that because when I lived with my other moms, it was horrible. There were 17 of us and it was terrible. But when you are, but it was also great because you didn't get in trouble very often. You just blended in with the crowd. Somebody did something wrong and you're like, I don't know. It wasn't me. But you lose your self-identity as one of the wives. And that's what she says in here, that they were able to identify themselves as individuals and not as just cogs in a family wheel. And one of the biggest things that makes up a cult, if you haven't watched that video, I did a whole video on cults, what constitutes a cult, what are some of the identifying factors of a cult. One of them is you lose your own individuality. You lose your own personal identification. You want to be blended in with you don't want to be, but you're blended in with everyone else. That's what polygamy does to women as well. Did you notice that in your family, that women started to act the same or dress the same or anything like that when you were growing up? Or did they all try to hold on to their own individuality?
Yeah, they all tried to hold on to each of their own individualities. They all, especially in our big house, they all tried to follow the same rules. Dad put down rules, and so they did all try to follow the rules that he put into place in the house. Melanie talks about blending in as a kid. It was hard for us to all blend in. There was quite a few of us in the house, and usually if something went wrong, we all got disciplined. Yeah. So,
and that is one of the disadvantages.
Yeah, it wasn't just you blend in and somebody else was. It wasn't. We all got, something would go wrong, and we all got disciplined at the same time. Called into the living room to be talked to. So yeah, she does talk about how for the first time in years she could walk around her own living room without walking on eggshells, which is huge. This is why Rulin Allred, Christine's grandfather, used to teach that, yes, you wanted your family to be raised in one house, but each wife needed her own section of the house where she could be her own individual person. She talks about how she would dance in the kitchen, Tom Cruise style, in her long Mormon underwear. And I laughed so hard when I read that, because that is so true. Like, when you were ready for bed, you wore your pajamas over your garments. And if you had short sleeve pajamas, your garments just hung out the bottom. And that was just how it was. Yeah. There's nothing sexy about those at all. She said she knew that her sister wives would be there in an emergency, but she still had her own individuality. And, one of the things she does talk about is, go ahead. No, they're just starting to get their freedom. Yeah. Their own homes to be able to take care of, their own ability to be in their own home, especially when Cody's not there, and have their own place where you're not getting, because usually when they're all in one home, even if the dad's not there, the husband's not there, you've got other wives that'll try to correct you or put you in your place, or you have to have the right things in order. So yeah. And so she just talks about they didn't have real conversations. They had surface level conversations. And this is what's so sad about this whole thing, is that you're sold this story, you're sold this belief about what your relationships are going to look like as sister wives.
And it's the deep, most meaningful spiritual conversations. And yet she says right here that they were very surface level. They filmed all day together, and then they would listen to each other interpret a 4-year-old's birthday party. Like, how deep can you get on a 4-year-old's birthday? So this is again where we have said no one in polygamy watched the show because it didn't seem real.
Mm-hmm.
And this, again, she reiterates right here why. She said, everything was carefully orchestrated. What can I say that won't make this person angry or make this person cry or make the audience think that this person is a mean person? If she was just talking to Janelle to just the two of them, she could lay things out flat. But if she's talking to Robin, she's got to sugarcoat it, or the waterworks, tears start coming. And so that is one of the biggest. It feels like you're always in a minefield all the time. You're constantly having to dodge big, huge disasters that can happen by one thing that's said. And now that person takes it so deep and so personal, and it's just ends up being a disaster. She says that everything on set. You could not say anything like that on set because it was exhausting and unrealistic. And when they were done with the set and done with the show, they were just done with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the only time they got together was filming and then talking about the show on the couches. And I'm like, wow. And I think we're on season 4. I promise you guys, we will get season 4, episode 3 uploaded. We have been so slow at that. We just had a bunch of stuff come up this last week, so we haven't even uploaded that one yet. But yeah, one of the things she says too is that when they're all together, individual needs didn't matter. She didn't feel like her needs mattered. And I personally think this is one of the reasons Robin would not move into the big house with them, because Robin was making sure that her needs that they did matter, and that they were always paid attention to.
Well, and Robin has never lived in a house with other wives. Mm-hmm. She's never been a polygamist wife. Even as a child, they always had their individual trailers. So,
yeah,
or homes.
Well, and one of the things Christine says is that when she lived by herself, she was basically a single mom. Mm-hmm. And this is what kills me, is that we don't believe in ourselves enough to say, I can do this. I can't. It's always like, no, you have your husband to fall back on. And so I love seeing that light bulb click in a woman's head when she realizes, I've been a single mom for 10 years. I can do this.
I've been doing this all alone anyhow. So
right.
Yeah, wake up call.
Right. And so she gets to make her own decisions. She gets to make her own financial decisions. One of the things my dad used to say to my moms, he still says it, I pay for all the important things. You guys pay for the unimportant things. My mom's like, diapers, shoes, socks, those are unimportant things, huh? But they're the things that, and so Christine says in here that she didn't have to ask the family for food money, potato money, ground beef money. And that when she did work, all of her money went into the family pot. And so if she needed anything, she had to go to the family and ask for it. So she says that she never had enough even for groceries. That is so sad for me to hear that, because then she goes on to say, I never asked what any of the other wives were getting. This is the one thing that infuriates me so much. We've done a couple of videos on what is it called? United Order. Mm-hmm. My brain went blank. And so you're required to put your money into the pot, but then you have no accountability about where that money goes.
Everything goes into the pot, and then the priesthood leader or the head wife or whoever's controlling the priesthood leader, then you have to basically beg for your needs. And a lot of times it's, sorry, when we were kids growing up, it was half of what we earned went into the family pot. So, and the other half, if you needed needs, you were required to make your own needs. So,
yeah. And then she just talks about, it never occurred to her to ask what the other wives were getting. Another thing that we're taught when we are young is it's what relationship he has with that individual wife is their business. It's not your business. And so you mind your own business, and you just assume that everyone is out for the betterment of the family. And that's what's so tragic about this is Christine just assumed that people wouldn't take more than they needed. People wouldn't do more than they needed. She didn't, so no one else would. That's ridiculous. How do you not start noticing that when you go to your sister wife's house and you see the artwork on the wall and you see the way that her kids are dressed better than your kids, or that,
the doll collection that nobody needs. So.
Right. And so she just assumed that people would ask for only what they needed and then leave the rest in the family account. It never occurred to her. Again, this is conditioning that we were taught very, very young. I was taught in my marriage, don't ask me how much is in the account. It's none of your business. The only thing that you need to worry about is the money that I give you. And then you take care of that. That's it. So, yeah. So then she talks about,
she was obedient.
I was very obedient. I did what I was told. If you listen to him now, you wouldn't think that, only because towards the end, I started to finally speak up. But but when the family would, like when Mary went to the family, she talks about that in here, to buy her bed and breakfast. The family just didn't have the funds, but it's hard to speak up about stuff like that when you don't know what's happening. And this has been something that we have always discussed. We've always talked about, because we know what it's like to hand over a paycheck and then you don't know where that went. And you just worked your butt off for 2 weeks to get a paycheck, and now it's just handed over and someone else gets to make those decisions who's more financially responsible than you. I mean, I'm sorry, when you're putting in a 40-hour hardcore week, I'm pretty sure you're going to be a lot more responsible with where that money goes. She talks about Cody's name being on everything, all of the leases, all the homes that they own, on everything, which I find slightly interesting, just because financially, like, how does he make all that work with all that debt and liability against his name too? And I know that's one of the reasons Christine lucked out and was able to sell her house down there in Flagstaff, is because they had to take Cody's name off of her house. But typically that is one of the things that happens, is the men own everything and the women are put on just barely. So they talk about how Cody always had a scheme going. I cannot tell you, Utah is known as the MLM capital of the world, probably. Everybody has a scheme going all the time. It's exhausting. And
it runs rampant through polygamous groups. So,
yeah.
So to get,
Yep.
Yeah, our family did a couple different of them growing up too, and it burned me out pretty quickly on. And
I cannot stand MLMs. We will never join an MLM. My ex-husband kept trying to constantly get me to join an MLM because I needed to help support the family too and be a mom. And so the last MLM we joined was, oh my gosh, it was like 18 years ago. And it was one of our very best friends, and he convinced us to do it, and it went south so fast. It was a stupid energy drink, and I was so angry that we did it. And I said, absolutely not. But he was a good friend, and we were trying to help him out, and it was just the worst thing ever. So you will never see us ever peddle an MLM, because we have a lot of anger issues about it.
Or a United Order.
Yeah. She also talks about
my time in a United Order.
Well, and that's also one of the things that is so crazy about polygamous men, is they are always scheming because they have so many mouths to feed, so many family members to take care of. They're constantly scheming all the time about making a quick, rich dollar. It's exhausting, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say probably 50% of them. The other 50% have some sort of...
Most of them don't have solid careers. Yeah. They hop from job to job. So if you do get those rare individuals that have an actual career,
start their own business or careers.
They'll own their own businesses. Yeah. And those tend to be the rich families or the more successful families.
And then they pay enough into the United Order that they can become bishops and council members and stuff like that. So
then you become you become at the top of the food chain.
I don't think it's my volume. I think I've just got a scratchy throat today for some reason. So I'll talk louder.
Yeah. Or pull it right up to your mouth. Yeah. I've got mine sitting right here. So people are always getting mad at me because they're like, Melanie's so boisterous and Corey's always sweet. And no, he's not. He's not sweet. sweet and quiet.
No, I think they said funny.
Oh, they said
So,
funny. Oh,
yeah, good looking.
well, one of the things she talked about is when she learned to balance her own checkbook, she was actually really good about it. She could put money away. And that can be super tricky in polygamy because you've got one wife who never thinks about the future. She just like, nope, I want to spend what I want to spend now. And then you've got another wife who's like, no, let's put money away. And then you've got contradicting ideas, and it can get tricky. What are you laughing at?
I'm keeping sweet. I am.
He's obedient. So she also talks about how it can be scary because they don't know how long the show money is going to last. And I think that is one of the things, Cody and Robin definitely liked to look like they're rich. There's a great book out there called The Millionaire Next Door, where you would never guess the next door neighbor who drives a, regular car is a millionaire. And those are the kinds that you just don't see coming. Those are the kinds who are, it's the ones who have to flash it and show it all, end up the brokest. I'm curious to see how long it takes Cody and Robin to burn through that money. Because I don't think that art...
4 years.
4 years. I don't think art, at least not the art that I saw hanging on Robin's wall, holds value. At least not the kind of value.
I think previews for next week, Mary's art's going to be worth way more than Cody's art. So
if any of you guys watched this last episode of Sister Wives, Mary had an art class with some of her friends for the preview for this next week. Oh my gosh, we were dying. I'm like, I'll bet Cody would pay some good money for that eggplant. But she also talks about how the women do everything for the man. That they all went furniture shopping. TLC pays for a lot of this kind of stuff. And
but they're trying to make it feel comfortable for Cody. To be there.
Yeah. And so Mary
trying to win his affection.
Right. So Mary ended up buying a living room set that she never would have normally purchased so that her house looked nice enough so that Cody would come and visit. Now we are totally polar opposites. I have no idea how to decorate, and everything in our house is, well, I get decorate holidays. I don't decorate the house. So Corey kind of takes that over, but he's got a very good taste in stuff.
I'm in, I don't know, thousands of houses, and I take pictures of dang, that looks good, and then try to find it. So.
But she talks about how if Mary wanted Cody to spend time with her, she had to make the house comfortable and in Cody's taste. Again, that is very common. I can't even stress how common that is. I love how she says this. Any couple will compromise, but bringing the boy to the yard are two totally different things. They're two totally different when everything you do is to just make that man come to your home. She's the one who lives there 90% of the time. He's there 10% of the time. And yet she can't even be comfortable in her own home.
Supposed to be there 25% of the time. But as they get into the cul-de-sac, she starts to realize that it is the 10%. So.
Well, and then she talks about how cooking dinner, she has to make different dinners. We've talked about this a million times on our show, that is how we only ate good food when Dad was home. We only ate, although your dad did a lot of lobster cooking and stuff like that. Didn't he go over to Oregon?
Yeah. Deep sea fishing. It was deep seafood that we'd go over there and fish and bring stuff back. So it wasn't lobster. Crab legs sometimes, but not lobster. But each wife had a cooking week some of the wives, the good cooks, had cooking weeks within the family. And so, you would wait for one wife to become the cook because you knew you're going to get good food. But we also had a rule that food was on the table. If you didn't eat it, you starved. So we ate the bad food too.
So then Christine goes in talking about how she had to make 3 different meals, one for Cody, one for Gwendolyn, and one for the rest of the family. That would never happen in a normal family. Never. And Christine probably tried to accommodate that when it was just her and her children, because she was so used to cooking for 50 people, 25 people. But so she probably did try to do that a little bit more. But she talks about in here also that she would get frustrated when Cody would come home without letting her know that he was coming home. Now, they say that he rotated every 4 nights. She contradicts herself a lot in the book when it comes to that.
Well, they would have 4 nights. That was the rotation. But if he was upset with one wife, which she also says in the book here, then he would just move on to the next house in his rotation. And so, or he probably used to do that. And then by the end, it was just over to Robin's if they were missing out. So,
so if he's mad at Mary, he just shows up at Christine's. If he's mad at Janelle, he just shows up at Christine's. Like, and that is
try to make it equal, if you will.
So then she said Cody felt like that Christine was trying to control him. And that's what's so funny to me is that she asks him for advance notice if he's coming to her house because he's such a princess and he requires so much effort when he comes over. And some days she just doesn't want to put in that effort. And so, hey, you got to let me know before you come over. And then that's her controlling him when, again, very narcissistic tendencies when you want to flip what's happening onto the other person when he's the one actually controlling.
Well, to be honest, though, it's polygamous man is to never be controlled because then he wouldn't be treating each wife equally. And so I guarantee she would ask for certain things, or one of the wives would ask for him to do this or to do that. And Robin would probably whisper in the air, that's her controlling you. That's her doing this stuff. And you need to be the leader of this family. You are the leader, not them. So do not give up that kind of control when Robin had the control the whole time. So
I would highly agree with that. She talks about how she wanted him to feel relaxed and comfortable in her home because she wanted him to be there. It's not that she didn't want him to be there. She just needed to know when he was coming so that she could be prepared. How sad is that?
Or if he shows up out of the blue,
then he can shut the F up.
Well, jump in and help.
Exactly. Instead of sitting on the couch and waiting to be fed.
Sweet Cody, you're here. What do we have? What are you making for dinner? So,
well, and it's funny because I'll be like, what are you making? Or, hey, you want to get up off the couch and come help me? Or, something like that. But never do you do that in polygamy. You are the one who waits on the husband. You are the one who does all of the chores. And then she goes on to say in the rest of the chapter that she goes on to say that they all worked the same job. They all worked the same hours. And yet somehow Cody was always the busiest.
Yeah.
And again, this is very typical of these men. It's like, I can't help with the household chores. I got other stuff to do. What are you doing, buddy?
And yet in these last 2 seasons, if they show inside Robin's house, he's in there doing dishes. He's in there doing the work. So she's got, what was his line? If a woman she'll something about rubbing her feet. You got to make me want to rub your feet. So
a woman makes me love her. It's her fault if I love her.
So
well, and that's the thing. He even said
duties.
That on the last episode where he was like, now that I'm in a monogamous relationship, I'm way more accountable to Robin.
Embedded.
Well, because he was like, before I was a part of my family, now I'm embedded in my family. And this is why he can say, I don't want to help with housework because I'm busy, I'm working, I'm doing whatever. How many times we heard Cody say that on an interview? I was working. Really? What are you working on, dude? And now that he only has to be accountable to Robin because he can say, sorry, I was over at Janelle's doing something. I was over at Mary's doing something. Now Robin's like, no, you weren't, fool. You were supposed to be here. Help me with these dishes. So he can't get away with it like he was getting away with it. This next part of the chapter made me disgusted and sick. They wrote their book, Sister Wives, in 2012, which we have not read yet either. We thought maybe about doing a book club on that. But she talks about how he talks about the nacho scene. And his exact quote is that the sight of this chubby girl in my car devouring chili cheese nachos for breakfast put the brakes on our relationship. I can't even imagine how horrible that must have been for her, especially when she's already being compared to his diesel jeans skinny wife model. And then here she is. And it makes my heart shatter for her. Like, I can't even imagine.
Apparently she hadn't seen him licking whatever off of a butter knife, so probably would have turned her stomach on him too.
Oh my gosh. Whoever, like, you would never say something like that to me, but if you did, oh my gosh, it would be over. Like, there's no way that I would.
Won't put it in my book.
Okay, promise.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Pinky promise.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what they did, huh?
Yeah.
Pinky promise. But again, a lot of men in this religion, appearances are very important. And you're taught never to care about yourself, never to care about your self needs, but always look like you are star ready.
Mhm.
It's extremely frustrating. And, you know, my ex-husband used to say that to me, you'll never get your fat butt in that tree. Cause I used to love to climb trees. And he told me I'd never get my fat butt in the tree. I was 19 years old when he said that to me. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. You're killing me with this. It was devastating to me. And I had a 4-month-old baby when he said it to me.
A gem of a priesthood holder.
He was such a gem.
So righteous.
So she talks about how they write this book and she goes, this is what you tell the world about your wife in her 40s that you absolutely know will be hurtful. And you
should know it.
Yeah. Or you should know it. I love how she corrects Cody all the time. You were experienced, so you should have known. You were this, so you should have known. Whatever it is, he should have known better, because I feel like he uses that as an escape line a lot when he's like, well, I didn't know. No, no one is that ignorant. You just don't care. You just don't give a crap how she feels about things. Thank you so much, Christian Lily, for that super chat. It says, good morning. Just woke up to see you were live. Love listening to you both from Perth, Western Australia. Thank you so much.
Welcome from Australia.
Yeah, that's awesome. She talks about how in the book Becoming Sister Wives, they found out so much about each other that they didn't know. And it was so brutal. For having to live together, these people know nothing about each other.
Well, they're not supposed to. They're supposed, the way that the 3 older ones were, original wives were living it, is you kept your nose out of other people's business.
Right.
So it wasn't until they were all living very close to each other that it was obvious that they were seeing the difference in his behavior.
Right.
But
well,
probably at the beginning, he was hardly ever around there to father children and off to work again and date. His downtime was dating.
Yeah. And that's the thing, honestly. Again, they don't have to be accountable for any of their whereabouts, their actions, nothing, because they just blame it on another wife.
Yeah.
Did you have something else you wanted to read?
No, I was waiting for you to finish the chapter.
So she talks about, there was so much in the book that she didn't know about Cody. Cody had never been attracted to her. She felt extremely humiliated, and that her kids now knew, the world knew, and
moments after she found out.
Right.
So,
and we watched clips. So we haven't seen these episodes yet, but we watched clips where the host was saying, you weren't attracted to Christine, and Cody's words were, that was an understatement. Oh my gosh, this man, he wonders why no one has respect for him, why everyone thinks he's a complete jackass, because he is. And then he doesn't understand why people think that about him.
But he's living the typical priesthood holder's role within the polygamous family. That's the thing. Most polygamous men, their job as the leader of the family is to correct the wives, or to point out things that the wives could do better. You know what I mean? He's not to be corrected by them. He's to be corrected by his priesthood leaders.
Right.
But so he's coming out doing what he's seen other priesthood leaders within the group do to put their wives in check, or correct them, or get them set up to go out to pasture. And he's thinking at this time, probably when he's writing this book, that he does not have to, she will never leave him. And so it's okay for him to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
So his job as a priesthood holder or as a leader is to be brutally honest to his wives so that they can better themselves. And so he's trying to be nicer about it, but he's not, but probably nicer than the typical leader, the typical prophet would be to his family, his children. I mean, yeah, we as children were put in line and told some pretty harsh things when we were growing up too. So
yeah, no, it's pretty brutal, and they think that they can be. That's a difference. Is they're honest, but they're not kind. And yet Cody gets mad at the wives when they are honest with him. He's like, "Oh, I only come around kindness. I come toward you if you're kind, and I'm repelled from arguments." But they can say whatever they want to these women,
because that's the hierarchy of the polygamous family, and she's pointing it out here. What her responsibilities are to do is to make Cody feel comfortable and relaxed in their homes, in their relationships, at peace, at tranquility. And then he, as the priesthood leader, his job or responsibility is to point out where they could do better.
They could always do better. Yeah. So, and that's the thing. Yeah. And he is, somebody pointed out that Cody is such a victim. Just ask him. And he wonders why, and then he's like, I don't understand why these are the exact moments that the world started to hate Cody Brown.
Well, and he feels like a victim because all he's doing is his priesthood job responsibilities, and us lowly Gentiles or whatever don't understand the work that takes to keep these wives organized and
in their place,
and in their place. And all he's doing is trying to put them and keep them in their place, because again, I'll just repeat it. He does not think any of these wives will ever leave him.
Yeah.
He is the leader. They have made a covenant and a promise to be with him till the end of time, for eternity. And he has no idea that his behavior is eventually going to push them all away. So he feels comfortable in his position as leadership of the family.
It's true. And you have no idea like how many polygamous wives I've heard say these exact words. Why did you say you loved me then? Why did you propose to me? If you loved me now, why would you hurt me so publicly? I remember feeling those exact same things. She says he also played it like it was a tragedy that he had to marry her, but the real tragedy was that he kept her from someone who would have loved her. The tragedy was the narcissism of it, the belief that I wouldn't have moved on if he had laughed and said he wanted to keep me just as a friend. And I'm like, oh my gosh. She says later, Cody said that he felt like he had to marry her because she was polygamous royalty. And again, Cody wasn't from polygamy. And so this is great because now he gets to have himself a polygamous royal wife. Again, royalty is not always a thing, but for those who are not born and bred into it, it could be a thing for them because they want to have some deep roots or some deep ties.
Well, it's who you know within the polygamous group and who you can say you're related to. And so the chances of him marrying her as a third wife and then possibly getting a higher position within the community was possible. They were even trying to groom him. Cut your hair. Yeah. Cut your hair, do this, and we can get you into a bishopric position or a council member's position or some position within the church because of who her family is.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the tragic part about this is some women are used for their last name. Absolutely they are. There's no difference here than there is like in the royal families when you're marrying this person for this opportunity or you're marrying this person for this opportunity. So that part of it is true. She says that she said he had to marry me because you thought it would make you look good while knowing I would eternally be married to someone who didn't love me. She was heartbroken. But it felt as if he had robbed her of the ability to make a good life decision because he hadn't told her how he felt about her. And she also believed that it was completely unfixable. But because she had never had chemistry, this again goes back to what we've been saying time and time again, the naivety of all of us in this group. We didn't know. She says, I had never had chemistry. I didn't understand how it was supposed to feel. I didn't know how it felt to be adored. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I literally had not been adored by one single man until I married Corey. Not one. I had no idea what that felt like. And he did his duty and stayed with her every fourth night. But staying the night didn't necessarily mean physical intimacy. It felt like a punishment. It definitely didn't feel like companionship. And that is, to me, that whole chapter is so heartbreaking, because now you're locked into an eternal commitment that you can't get out of. No wonder she doesn't give a crap to go out there and get a release. It doesn't matter to her. She just wants out of it.
Mm-hmm. And the belief system.
Right. So thank you so much, DJ Tag, for that. Mel, I hope you're feeling better. Feeling JC better, just better. I am. I'm doing so much better. I still get really, really tired. So last week we did a bunch of lives and stuff, and I just like crashed over the weekend. I was really tired, but thank you.
And we had babies too.
Yeah.
So grandbabies.
Yeah. So. Katie says, I would have let Cody have his big kitchen area in the house. That way the wives can come and enjoy the family time and leave him with a mess to clean up. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
That'll never happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then So Blessed Canadian, thank you so much. She says, do you think that Cody truly believed in the religion, or did he earn his father's approval and respect? I feel like we almost would need to read the book to make
it. I think he believed, I think he was trying to earn his father's both. Yeah. The respect. But if he could get into, because his dad had 2 wives, he was coming in strong. He came in and got 3 wives pretty quickly. And then because of who his 3rd wife was, then he was being offered positions.
Yeah.
They were trying to get him to, hey, if you cut your hair and look the part, we can get you in as whatever it is, a bishop. I don't know what they were going to put him in as, but he was going to get some ranking within, or was looking towards getting some ranking within the AUB, just from some of the stuff that they had talked about and said. Christine was out there talking about polygamy, connecting with a whole bunch of groups. So they were actually had great connections, not only within the AUB, but with other groups. And so he was going to move up, and then he was like, hey, let's do this show. And then that's when he got the disapproval from
the leadership.
But you trade that for a paycheck coming in from the show, and possibly him and Robin becoming movie stars. So
him and Robin.
It was a good trade-off for them. But yeah, I think at the beginning, they were all very motivated. He had 2 wives that were raised in this. That's the only way they knew how to live. Janelle was the only one that was raised in the church, but they all studied the beginnings of the Mormon doctrine, and they believed in Mormonism. So why not live the way that their prophet Joseph Smith did? So
yeah,
and move all the way up. So, and his dad's, he was probably getting his dad's approval on this, but I think I had to unlearn what I had learned for 18 years. So my belief systems changed and that's the other thing. We didn't even have a clue that we had other options than the options that were laid out for us, which were, you should be getting baptized, then you should be getting the priesthood, then you should be getting wives, then you should be going through getting all your endowments, and you should be raising kids. And those were our choices growing up. That or hell. Which one are you going to choose? Well, you want to go to heaven. So, So even though Cody was not raised within polygamy, his dad joined polygamy, so he was being taught different, more basic Mormon doctrine by his dad, because his dad was looking into polygamy or that doctrine. So why wouldn't he be teaching his kids that same doctrine? He would.
Right.
And so, yeah, Cody went on a mission for the church because they were a part of the church. And most people, I mean, my parents were a part of the LDS church or the Mormon church until they were excommunicated. They wanted to stay a part of that church. And then they had multiple wives, and then they got excommunicated. So,
yeah.
yeah, just because they were Mormon doesn't mean that they didn't believe in the polygamy part of it. Most Mormons, will live that later on in life.
We'll live that in the afterlife. We don't live that
they
here
still
on this
believe
earth.
that it's a correct doctrine.
Yeah.
So,
Melinda Hensley says, brutally honest translates to let me tear your self-esteem down and confidence down. That way you have no courage to leave.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
He didn't want them to leave. He didn't think that they would ever leave. That was against their belief systems, especially Christine, who was raised within this group and was an advocate for it. He never thought she would be the one that leave. That's why I think it's hurt him the worst that she was the first one to leave.
Yeah. And good on her for doing that, because she really gave so much courage to so many other women. I mean, my mom has watched her leave. My mom's watched her leaving process. And yeah, my mom has got so much strength just from watching Christine leave. So Catherine Perry says, polygamy might be tenable if they didn't expect the wives to have so many children and provide food and clothing too. It's just logistically impossible to provide the time and attention and resources required. My mom and I were just talking about this the other day too, about how, because I kept saying to her, and she said this too, there's a million times that she knew she should have left, but she didn't. And I'm like, then why did you keep having children with him? And, my mom kicked him out a million times. I'm sure that Janelle, I mean, we all know Janelle's left a million times, but again, I think it goes right back to what she was saying. They tear down your self-esteem. You don't know that you could do this on your own. You don't know that you could do this without that person. And also you have sworn a covenant that you've sworn a covenant that you would rather give up your life than break these covenants. You have literally, if any of you have not looked into what the marriage ceremony is, you literally say in the marriage ceremony that you would rather give up your life than break this covenant. And so it's not like you are just over there like, sure, I'll marry you for right now, and then in 6 months I'll be done. That's not how it is. In the Mormon church, I know a lot of people who have been that way. In the polygamous church, it is not that way. You're done for all eternity. Let's see. I'm trying to get some more questions here. Yeah, DJ Tag says Cody and Robin are spending money as fast as they make it. I'm curious, truthfully, what they're going to do when the show money dries up. I've heard that they're making a lot of money on this season, but yeah, Melinda says Robin's art is reproductions, not originals, except for the gigantic engagement canvas, which is insanity to me. I don't know. Yeah. Oh. And then Lynn says it's a business rather than a family for God, full of betrayal and unhappy children. I can't imagine God smiling about that. I have said this to my mom a dozen times. Mom, tell me what's spiritual about that. Now that you've just said those words out of your mouth, tell me what's spiritual about that. And would you wish that on your own children? And almost every single time, absolutely not. I would never want my kids to feel this way. And my parents used to say to us all the time, we just want you to have a marriage like we have. And my response every single time was, do you hate me? Why would you wish that on me? Oh, all right. So now we'll get back to chapter 19. One of the things she starts out with chapter 19 is that she loved her kids. She loved building a home with her kids. We as women, I know that this is where I found my value and my worth is being a mother. My kids loved me unconditionally. She talks about that. She talks about how Cody would come to her house and stay in her room with her. But that doesn't mean that there was intimacy. And she says she loved him, but I didn't know what deep love felt like. None of us, I had no idea. So then she talks about things that would come up on set that were super painful. One of us should usually say something, but Cody would say something that really hurt. And I can't imagine, we, in some of the episodes we watched, we're like, oh, damn, that's going to be a fight after the end of the show. And you see that. And this is why I think that they were so careful in what they said and did on the show, because it was a minefield all the time. And Cody did a lot of damage to these women in these tell-alls. Let's see. She says he might have shown up unexpectedly from one of the other wives' houses if he was withholding attention from another wife that couldn't host him that night. I'm sorry. It's your house together. You're not hosting him, but that's what it feels like when you are in this lifestyle. It literally feels like you are hosting a guest and you are working your ass off the entire time that guest is there to make sure that they're as comfortable as they possibly could be. Could you even imagine if I did that to you?
I'd love it.
I know. Yeah. There's no way that I would be doing that. Well, I mean, I feel like some nights I do, and you're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just want to be nice to you tonight. Let me be nice. But to do that every time he came home, everyone wonders, where does the inflated ego come from? I feel like we just keep pointing out where the inflated ego comes from.
It's more of a give and take. I feel like with our house, it's like, oh, the kids are coming over. Let's get.
Yeah.
So we're doing it to try to lure our kids back into coming and hanging out with us and playing some games.
She just says that, if another wife wasn't hosting him, then she wouldn't be ready for him. We kind of already talked about that in the last chapter too. That could bring feelings of irritation or rejection, because getting ready for Cody was a huge production. He was never part of the production. So he didn't know what happened beforehand. He didn't help with the meals or the house or the housework. So everyone has asked us quite often, is it common for polygamists to go into therapy? It's absolutely not common. 9 out of 10 people I know in polygamy never go to therapy. She says in here, the producer suggested that the family start therapy. And so it was the producers who came in and said, there's so much dysfunction going on here. Why don't you guys start therapy? And I've heard from many sources that Cody was really good friends with the main producer, Tim, of some sort. And so, I think that is insane. So she talks about after they started going to therapy to try to sort things out, which I cannot imagine going to family therapy like that.
Yeah. I want to answer this one.
Okay.
So blessed Canadian, it made dating, the male dating pool had to be slim pickings. If Cody Brown was an attractive option, just saying. Well, it wasn't necessarily, I'm sure he was attractive, you know what I mean? Young man, but
he wasn't
related. And so that was very attractive to a lot of women within the AUB. Let's see, I can marry my cousin, my second cousin, my third cousin, or dang, this guy's not even related to us. Let's try that option out. So that's always gives you a move up from slim pickings. Is again, the lack of choice within these groups. When somebody comes in like Cody or some of these other young men that look like they're going to be able to add to the community, make money and bring more money into the community. And these women can marry outside of their families.
Yeah.
So,
and I forgot to name the chapter. Sorry, this is chapter 20, Cody Brown, Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Forgot to say that part.
That was snarky, but that was true.
So it's hilarious. This is the greatest chapter. She talks about Cody and Mary's wedding ring. And now Cody's claiming that 10 years after they got married, he melted down the gold to use for some of the daughters' collada rings. He gave each of them when they turned a certain age, but he hadn't talked to Mary about it, and they were already rocky. Christine says she was furious. Why would you do something like that? He felt frustrated that Mary had so much ownership over him. That that's just got to be stupidity, because common sense would say, maybe let's not melt down a ring someone gave us. Like, oh my gosh. And this man loves to show off his rings. You can always see it in all of the interviews that he does.
Without at least talking to the person
I
who
know.
gave it to you,
What?
making that
And he
decision
wonders why
together.
the whole world hates him.
Well, it was him not wanting. He should be the one in control. And if he feels like he's not in control of something, or one of the wives is controlling him, he's going to put them back in their place. And through harsh measures, but in his mind, it's he's righteously putting them back in their place, because he's the righteous priesthood leader.
I know.
So
okay, then she goes on to say, now I would lose my absolute freaking mind. Corey's brother Kendall is on here. Maybe he can chime in about this too. Christine noticed a new ring on Cody's hand, and she asked him, where did that ring come from? And he's like, oh, Robin gave it to me. And Christine says, you're not even married yet. How on earth are you wearing a wedding ring? You're wearing a ring that Robin, your girlfriend, gave you. I don't know how I would literally lose my mind over something like that, because again, but then if you talk to Cody and Robin, oh, their courtship was so long. It was so hard. They had to wait so long in order to.
Well, and he earned that ring.
Well, yeah. So then she goes, she bought it a while back and has had it for years, but never had anyone to give it to her. Now she feels like I earned it. What'd you do to earn that? Mm-hmm. What's happening in the backseat of that car for reals? And so I'm like, yeah. So in Christine's mind, she's like, you can't melt down Mary's ring and then turn around and wear a ring that your girlfriend gave you, not even your wife. And you have 3 wives at home. And so I love how she says this. Maybe you can give her your Letterman jacket too. Mm-hmm. Like, how childish do you have to be? This man has no sense of it. Some of the things that he has said and done has literally just like, where's his common sense? Does he have zero common sense? Where's his humanity towards these women? He doesn't have to be humane towards these women because they are objects that he now owns. And so he doesn't have to be humane. He doesn't have to be kind. He doesn't have to do any of those things because he is now the leader and he'll decide.
He has to be a leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in control.
So then Christine finds another ring that she wants to buy him. It's a ring, Joseph Smith ring. But Christine went to all of the other wives and asked the wives, what do you think about this? I'll buy this ring if you guys like this. So she ends up buying the ring. And then her and Cody end up getting in a fight about it. And he's like, what's different from the ring you gave me versus the ring Robin gave me? Well, she says, I was your wife when I gave you that ring. And I went to my other sister wives. We all agreed to give you that ring. Robin didn't ask any of the sister wives if she could give a married man a ring. How inappropriate does Robin Sullivan Brown have to be in order to make that decision? Like, I'm sorry, the nerve on this girl to think that I'm just going to press my hips into this man on the front of the car and take sexual poses with him. Now I'm going to give him a ring before I even marry him. And yes, he might have a pregnant wife at home. Who cares? He might have 13 children at home. Who cares?
And this is why she used the term covenant mate, or is that what it is?
Yeah.
No, what is it? Soulmate. It's a soulmate. It's something where she feels like that her and Cody had made a covenant even before this life. In a previous life, they made a covenant to be together. And so because they'd made that covenant, and they just met each other and talked about that covenant again. And yes, we're soulmates. We're there.
Sacred covenant.
I should be able to act like a soulmate with you. Yeah. And so, they
and
did
this is
nothing inappropriate.
This is how a lot of these men justify premarital sex.
Inappropriateness.
It's because we're covenant mates. Yep. We're soulmates. So it doesn't really matter that I have a pregnant wife at home and all these other children and responsibilities. I do want to answer this question. How did Robin afford a ring? Oh, she just put it on that credit card that Janelle paid off when she came into the family. So really, Janelle probably paid for the ring, not Robin. I mean, let's just be real about what it was, because Robin didn't have a job. So she just put her bills on the counter and Janelle paid them. So it's disgusting. Now you can start to see where so much abuse has happened in this religion, in this lifestyle. This is what women do to each other. And for Robin, it's just like, oh, now here's this covenanted ring that I'm going to give my soulmate, but we're just going to let Janelle pay for it. And nobody's going to say anything. Oh,
it was probably, yeah, I won't. Yeah.
That's speculation on my part. It's 100% speculation.
Us, but probably a ring that I don't know, her dad gave her. So here's a ring. Your mom won't let me wear the ring of the other wife. So here, you can have this ring to give to a special man in your life. So
yeah. Well, she says that
I'm being facetious. I have no clue.
So she said after this fight that Cody didn't wear that ring for very long because he or someone else, I love how she does these little jabs at Robin, was mad and he didn't wear the ring for very much longer after that.
He became obedient.
Yeah. Yeah. So she says also that she didn't know whether to be mad or angry because she had spoken to her sister wives about buying Cody this ring, and they were all fine with with her buying the ring. And she acted on the information that she was given, that she had with these other women. But that's how it seemed sometimes. Well, Corey's knocking over the desk. And it says, like, everyone held on to little bits of information to either protect themselves or find control in the family dynamic, which could change instantly depending on the kind of information that you had. Mm-hmm. Cody was like the grand master of information in the family, and he used it to control. Yep. This is exactly how these polygamous men are. They find a little bit of information from her, find a little bit of information from her, and then they control all of the family based on whatever information that they're given. She also talked about, she makes a snarky comment back to Cody and said she threw her ring. So Cody had given her ring. She threw it out in the field. So they find out about this in therapy. And he was angry with her, and he was like, why would you throw that? And she goes, yeah, maybe I could have just melted that thing down. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my gosh, Christine is so sharp and witty with her comebacks to Cody. Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, and it points out too that Cody's like, shoot, maybe I didn't do it the right way, but he's never going to admit that.
He doesn't need to admit it.
Doesn't need to change his behavior at all. It's always the bad sister wives that need their behavior changed.
Yeah. Oh. Well, and she said she was legit angry that he had put a diamond in Robin's ring and not her ring. And at some point that.
Well, and Robin pointed, she kind of, I don't know. She was just like, oh, Robin, she noticed it on Robin's hand and all that stuff. I guarantee there was conversations. Robin's very keen on listening to what Cody has to say. And so, oh, Christine wants that. Hey, it'd be really nice as a diamond in this ring. Oh, yes, I'll get you that right away.
I'll get right on that for you.
And then I guarantee it wasn't just oh, you noticed. It was hello, look what I've got here. So it's very manipulative on
extremely
Robin's side.
Thank you, Catherine Perry, for that super chat. She says Cody has no emotional intelligence. As Jennifer Aniston said about Brad, he's missing a sensitivity chip. Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Well, you're not right. You're not raised to be emotionally intelligent. Every time you have some sort of emotion, you're told that that's wrong. So you have to learn to become. I had to learn to become emotionally intelligent. So I didn't get married until my 30s because I was not emotionally intelligent. So
you really weren't. You're such a man child. It was unreal.
So
I remember thinking, oh my God, this guy's so immature. I don't know if I can do this. I already have 3 kids. But
add the 4th.
My children adored him because he was emotionally and mentally on their level, and they loved every second of it. And I did too. So, but she talks about how Robin and Mary ended up getting a colada ring together eventually. And then when Robin started My Sister Wives Closet, Cody came up with a design that had a sapphire hidden in the band. And her comment to him was, nobody can afford that ring. She said it was ridiculously expensive. And she said to her, it meant that he saw himself as having a secret life that was so special to only him that only he should know about it. He began wearing the ring he designed with Robin. Cody Brown, Lord of the Rings. Frodo was probably right.
Yep. And here's the interesting part. He did have secrets. He was designing. That was a secret. He still has, probably, him and Robin have a secret that they're probably keeping from the other wives. It'll eventually come out.
All the time.
So, yep. They've got secrets too. So,
yeah. Yep.
So you can tell by some of their behaviors, some way that they look at each other. They can sit there and talk about how pure they both were, but now it'll come out. So
yeah.
They're hiding some secrets. They got some secrets in that.
I think it will come out too. I mean, you can see the family's already fallen apart from a lot of the secrets. DJ Tag says, I've been a financial advisor for many years. My friends received multi-million-dollar divorce settlements. I do financial plans for them. They didn't do it. They didn't do the financial plan. They spent it on boys, toys, condos, remodeling. Now no money. I mean, honestly, I think you're either good with money or, I have a family member who received multiple inheritances. Oh my gosh.
Not from any polygamous
from her husband's side of the family. And I mean, we're talking a couple $1 million, and they were in a homeless shelter less than 5 years later. So I think it just really depends on how much financial, savvy you are. Yeah. He also says, Robin stopped going to therapy. She thought it was too harsh on her. I know. It's funny what the sprinkle of accountability that will do for people. Yep.
Third party looking at you guys going, well, wait a minute. Shy, perfect wife over here. Sister wife is not quite as shy as she leads on to be, and not quite as perfect. And oh, no, this is too hard.
She's getting called
You guys
out.
are picking on me. This is why the standing joke that she's somehow the
family counselor. Speaks
Brown.
Brown family scapegoat.
Scapegoat. Oh, because she's a victim about it. She's not the scapegoat. Everybody else escaped, so she's the only.
She's the only goat.
She's the only goat he's got. So.
Lynn Betka says, why would anyone participate? It seems like to be a life of unhappiness. It's either because one of the things that we've been taught our entire lives is you're sacrificing happiness in this life for an eternal happiness that you're going to receive in the next life.
It's the only way to get into the top degree of heaven.
Right.
Is to be miserable in this life.
So if you don't want to be a Ken doll or a Barbie doll with no correct autonomy in the anatomy, why did I say autonomy? Anatomy in the next life, then you have to live this way. Yep. The only way that you will be fully intact, to have full access to God, is to live this way. So it's this or hell. Which one are you going to pick? So people choose this way to be unhappy in this life.
Yep. Let's be miserable here so we can be in heaven in the afterlife. Well, what's it going to be like in the afterlife? Is it going to be heavenly and bliss? Well, no, you'll still have 3 wives. No, you'll be doing this, but you'll be progressing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dang it, that's hell. So
DJ also says common sense isn't so common in this family. No, it's not. And I love this comment too. They
not
just
in this
use
religion either.
It's not. They just use their money differently. I remember when Robin said that on the tell-all, I died laughing. Oh my gosh, it was so hilarious. Also, zero morals. I totally agree. A good chunk of people I know don't have morals, or what they do is they have morals that they justify.
Yeah, they are the most moral people on the planet. They just justify why they did stuff before the prophet said it was okay.
Yeah.
So, but they're still moral.
Yeah.
I feel moral. So,
yeah.
Wait a minute. If somebody did that to you, would you be okay with it? Well, they just don't understand.
They don't understand the intentions of my heart.
Yeah. We made a covenant before this life, so we can do that. So,
Catherine says, you seem naturally good at it, Corey. And he really is, with playing with the kids and being on the floor. Yeah. When one of our tech support girls now lives with us, our niece, and she was playing on the floor with my son, and they were 2 years. Were they 2? I think they were 2 at the time. And I remember watching Corey being on the ground with these children playing. And I remember thinking to myself, this is as good as it's going to get. This is exactly what I want. A father who's involved with my children, where I was a single mom basically before. And so then I just said to him, hey, you want to get married? And he was like, what? Really? And I'm like, no, I'm serious. Do you want to get married? And he said, yeah. And then we planned getting married after that. So yeah, I asked him twice. I asked him the first time we got married, and I asked him the second time we got married. Let's see. DJ says the secret life all along with all the secret money they had from the other 3 wives. And isn't that so sad? Because wives like Christine never thought to ask for an accounting of where the money was going.
It was not their job, responsibility, or even their place to be able to ask that kind of question.
Right.
What, you don't trust in your priesthood leader?
Right.
You'd be shamed right back into, you don't have trust in the covenant I made that I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. So
yeah. Okay. So
no, I don't.
No, I actually don't. Then you shouldn't be in this religion though. Chapter 21 says, just wait for the credits. She talks in this chapter about being a mom and how she found herself. She realized being a mom was more important than trying to be attractive for Cody or working on being a good sister wife. I think we have all come to that term at some point in our marriages, because the marriages are just so painful that it's easier to get lost in being a mother or a parent than it is to deal with all the side crap.
Well, the non-existence of a marriage.
Right.
So you're doing it on your own. She's starting to wake up. So.
Well, and then she goes on to say, but she also understood what that role meant. That the children kept her grounded, and it reminded her of what was important, and they made her feel deeply loved. You don't always understand what your role as a sister wife is. You don't always understand because the rules change all the time according to whoever's playing the game. And this woman might think one thing, this woman thinks another thing. This man is now getting ping-ponged in between these 2 women until whoever cries the loudest is who he goes with. And so your foundation of who you are is always dependent on someone else's emotions.
Yeah.
And
being a sister wife's hard. She states that in here because she feels like she's having a communication with Robin, telling, hey, I want to be your friend. I want this. But when it comes back through Cody, something's been twisted in there.
Yeah.
And that is the manipulation part of it. So.
Yeah. And so I loved this chapter because I feel like, well, we really relate to this chapter. I feel like this is the way we've parented our children too. She said she made herself a promise that if the kids ever said to her, can I talk to you for just a moment, I would stop everything. What's funny to us, when she said that, when we read that, I laughed because we have done that too. If our kids call us, we answer the phone. If our kids do for the most part, if Corey's talking to me, I won't answer the phone sometimes, but then they instantly call Corey, and then he answers the phone. He's like, I know, sweetheart, I love you more than mom. I'm going to answer the phone. And I'm like, listen, fool, I didn't answer because you were talking to me. Yeah. But we do make our children a priority all the time. If they come over to our house, we drop what we're doing and we spend time with them. And we made this agreement really early on in our marriage, where we were just like, if our kids will always come first.
We wanted to be parents that we wanted as children for parents. So
and attentive parents. We want our kids to be seen.
And who their names are and be able to talk to them, even though I mess it up sometimes still. But at least I know who they are. I know what they love. And if they want to talk to me, I'm all about it.
So doing these lives has been challenging for our kids because, in fact, whenever we put our phones on Do Not Disturb, our children can still get through to us. That's how important we feel like it always is. But doing lives on YouTube, it's hilarious because our daughter actually drove to our house and she was like, why are you not answering your phone? And we're like, we're live on YouTube. And she's like, oh, okay. So they've had to adjust that. Because they're not immediately able to get a hold of one of us. And so she talks about stopping, adjusting, eye level with a toddler or a teen. I feel like we have really tried to be
Yep.
this way as parents. And then she goes on to explain love languages. If you haven't read about love languages, I highly recommend that book. I read that before I started having children. The love languages, so that you can speak to the people that you love and where they hear you the
Mhm.
most. So love languages is such a great book. The Four Agreements and Love Languages are the two books I read the most before as I was becoming a mother,
Yeah.
because I felt like they were so important in parenting skills. She also talks about in her home, rather than sharing a house with her sister wives, she could parent however she wanted.
Mhm.
And that is really important in this religion, because so many times other people's belief systems get put on your children, even if you don't agree with them. And that is one of the hardest things
Mhm.
to sit and watch someone else abuse your children like that.
Well, it's hard for a kid too, when you're being parented by 9 different
Because they don't know
opinions. So
they
some of
don't
them are good,
understand what's
some of them are
happening.
bad. Yeah. It's like you're doing something that one parent told you and you're getting in trouble by another parent for doing what you were told to do by said head parent. So
Yeah.
wait a minute, dad told us we had to do this. Well, you're doing it wrong. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
it's hard having 10 different bosses
Yeah.
as a kid.
And we both related to this sentence so much. She says, I didn't want the kids to come to my house and feel like they needed to do chores, because this is exactly, I mean, in this kind of religion, it is just, there's always something that needs to be done, always something that needs to be cleaned. Everyone has to chip in and help, which great, have chores to do. But if that's the only reason that you're home, why would you want to be there? You would want to be in a place where other things happened too, other than just working. Then she goes on about a story about the girls. She's like, I'm all about being a great mom, but I have working hours and then the other hours are my sleeping hours. I never got that part down very well. I was a mom 24/7, even if the kids wanted me. So she goes into a story about the girls coming over from Robin's house. She said in here, the one-on-one time was the most important thing that she could give those children.
Mm-hmm.
We totally agree. Being an as much as my mother loved us, she couldn't be home because she had to work 2-3 jobs sometimes. And I was the mother. Being the oldest, I'm the one who stepped in, and I never wanted my children to ever feel that. So we never really got babysitters. We always had our kids with us all the time. We took them to our offices together. We now have offices at home, so we work from home. But when they were little, I mean, my little guy, the one's going to get married next week, it is next week, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, he's getting married next week. He's 27 now. We come and play with his little leap pad in my office on the floor till I could take him to kindergarten.
Yep.
But she says in here, I could feel grateful for those and whole in those moments with her children. And that really is a place that we find ourselves as women in this religion.
Single mom in it.
Yeah. And then she talks about dance parties at the end of every movie. She talks about spending one-on-one time with Peyton. That's one thing I wish we would have done a little bit more, was one-on-one time with our kids. We didn't always do that. We took all of our kids everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the end of chapter 20. Let's see. Catherine says, I get that, Corey. We were put in charge of my brother Gene that had Down syndrome, and I didn't feel equipped to parent my brother. And there were 5 of us taking care of him. So 6 of us total. Yeah. Yep. We did that too with our Down syndrome. Oh, it looks like a lot of people are having to jump off. We're going to go another half an hour. I've been trying to limit these to 2 hours. Let's see. Lynn says, I really admire you guys. I'm glad you're not in that lifestyle. Thank you. Yeah. We're good. We're so glad to be out of it too.
The one point I wrote down here on that chapter 21 too is where she said that she learned how to stop, adjust, and then listen to your children. Mm-hmm. But then the children started to realize about this point that Cody's disappearing act was coming around. Mm. He wasn't there as much as he was when they all lived in the same family. even the kids are now starting to see that Cody's not around very much at all. So
Yeah. And that is really sad that the kids started to notice that. Thanks for pointing that out, because I was going to, and then I missed it. Okay, chapter 22. I stopped eating my emotions. This chapter made me really sad because I relate so much to this chapter, because this is such a hard lifestyle. And when you're always in competition with the girl next to you, it's really hard, because
the diesel gene model.
A lot of women do eat their feelings and they become big. And then they're I would say eating disorders are one of the number one things in polygamy, because you have women with rotten teeth because they're constantly expelling their food. You have women that will never eat, that are constantly on IV drips because they're so sick, or they've killed their organs on the inside because they're in constant dieting mode all the time, because you're literally in competition with the girl next to you 24/7. And so this is really a hard chapter for me to read through. She said it would be hard now that they're living in the cul-de-sac in Vegas. She said it would be really hard for Cody to hide where he was, that they could see each other's houses from the front window. This is really funny, because I feel like so many women that don't live together like that, it happened with my parents. They bought a compound about 10 years ago, and
a
fourplex. And my dad put 4 of his wives in there. And it's like they started polygamy all over again, because now they can see where he's parked and where he's spending his time, where before he could just lie about it. Before, Cody could just lie about it. Now he can't. They can see where his car is. And one of the wives demanded that my dad, if it was her night with him, that he park his car in her driveway, so that all the other wives knew where he was. Like, haha, he's at my house. And he had to be there before she got home from work, so that she could pull into seeing him there. It's the little things that matter, I guess. So, but she said that about that time is when Peyton started referring to himself as the man of the house.
Yep.
I did that a lot too. I was like, yeah, I'm the man of the house. My dad's never here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. I have a younger brother who was not much of a man of the house, but I was more of the man of the house. But I would refer to my oldest son this way too. And I didn't realize how damaging that could be. But I would refer to him as the man of the house, especially going through my divorce. And he was 9. That was way too much to put on him at the time. But I thought it was an honor with the way that we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about Cody's absence in therapy. My kids always talk about how much they miss Cody, Robin said. And I love the way Christine responds. Girl, please, your kids are secure. They know they're loved. All your kids know who their dad is. My kids don't. It's so true. I have a brother who listens to this podcast, and he came up to me and he's like, I am so sorry that your mom's kids went through all of that. I had no idea. I'm like, I know, because your mom was the favorite and your dad was always at your house. And so he had no idea growing up how hard it can be when you're not the favorite wife. Let's see. She says, how can you say that when we all can see where Cody is?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I don't believe plural marriage can work when there's a favorite. The minute that I saw Robin come out and say, Cody's my soulmate, instantly I made a video about that, how soulmates are so detrimental in this lifestyle. And that's, again, where she comes back. I wasn't going to be close to Robin ever because I couldn't trust her. Because she says one thing, my kids miss Cody all the time too. And everyone's like, you're kidding. He's always at your house.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'd come up with, I don't know where Cody is either.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in your bedroom, kid.
Or he's on dating mode.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been out dating. So
that's true. And she talks about while they were all physically closer to each other in the cul-de-sac, none of the relationships improved. She said she'd had enough emotional togetherness when they're talking with each other on set. I felt constantly on edge, constantly uncertain, constantly worried about the next thing that might pop out of somebody's mouth, which was usually Cody's mouth. Again, you can see that reflected on, if you are a former plig kid, you can see that reflected on the show. You can see it reflected on the tell-alls. you can see like it's insanity how much these people don't like each other, but they sit with each other on a couch and try to pretend that they're all friends. She said the producers always wanted to dig deeply into things. Like if she side-eyed Cody for saying something that wasn't true, which was pretty constantly, she'd have to come up with a diplomatic way to be kind about it. It was like she was gaslighting herself. She admits right here, 90% of this show, whatever percentage of the show, was not real because they couldn't stand each other most of the time. And yet they had to be diplomatic in their responses and what they were saying and how they were saying it to each other.
To identify or to become a good sister wife. Cody was always reprimanding them how they weren't as good as sister wives.
Look at Robin. Look how great of a sister wife she is.
Like Robin. So that he was always comparing them to Robin. And so, yes, they had to be diplomatic all the time, trying to keep Cody at bay or please or whatever it was. So.
Yeah. Let's see. And then she talks about how she didn't even know how to make friends. So here they are down in Vegas. Now she's lost her whole community. They're down in Vegas. How does she make new friends? This is very common. We struggle with this hard because all your friends are your cousins or your church friends, and so that's what we always talk about that.
They're related to you in some way.
Yeah. And then you have a falling out in your family and half the siblings hate the other half of the siblings for a minute. And it's like, now, great. I wish I had outside friends. And so this is very, very common for polygamous children to not have outside friends. Because everything we did, oh gosh, they're talking. I just put some more chapstick on. My lips are getting. But that is very common for polygamous kids because we all hang out with each other. Our siblings are our best friends, and that's how it's been for me most of my life. When we have a party, it's Corey's siblings and my siblings that come, and it's great.
My cousins, nephews, things like that.
Yeah. So. Let's see. She also talks about because they were in a reality show that she had to watch out for people pretending to be friends because they thought they could become famous through them, and they learned how to filter. That is another reason people have asked me all the time, why don't you see if Mary or Christine or anyone will come on your show? That's another reason I don't want to. I don't want to be one of those people that they have to filter out because I'm only trying to be friends with them to get famous. Like, I hate that. I hate that so much. I feel like some people did that. It's funny when my dad became the prophet to watch the way people treated us differently all of a sudden. Like when my dad became on the leadership, I was 19 when that happened. And the difference in the way people treated us. I know you don't know that feeling. I'm sorry. Your dad was not on the leadership, but it is true. And so I only received it at a micro level in the community. Christine is seeing it on a global level wherever she travels.
Well, I'd be friends with Christine and David. Zero desire to be, because the only other person that I knew from the show was Robin. I have zero desire to be friends with Robin ever. I wasn't friends with her when I was a kid, so I'll never be friends with her so she can filter me right out.
Yeah.
Or I'll filter her right out. But yeah. And I didn't know Mary. You knew them, but I didn't know Mary or Janelle. So I've only known them from the show.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And so, yeah, I've never approached any of them and asked any of them to say anything, just for that reason. But she also talks about, this is where she talks about her drinking in Vegas. In Utah, absolutely zero drinking. 90% of people don't drink in Utah. Well, now the percentages are a lot more even. Yeah. Or if they do, they lie to each other and say that they don't.
Well, and to be honest with you, I knew them most of these guys when I was a younger kid, but I was ousted out of the community pretty young.
You were 24, weren't you?
Yeah. But when you're ousted out of the community, yes, I'm still friends with my siblings, but anybody else in the community, I'm really, there's some that I'm friends with, but most of them that I was friends with were also ousted with me around the same time.
Right.
So my friends were all Gentile friends. Well, excommunicated friends. So we had something in common.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to their church activities. I didn't socialize with the polygamists after honestly, after I left and
Mm-hmm.
came down here, I never went and socialized. It was a couple times I went to basketball games with my brothers, but
You're right.
I never socialized with you polygamists.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
unless we were invited down to hang out with you guys, and I'm like, they must think I'm my other brother, the perfect brother.
No, that's not true.
So
She talks about how what you say or drink in Vegas does definitely not stay in Vegas. I thought that was a hilarious line. And that Janelle was like, we should all have alcoholic beverages. I thought that was hilarious because Janelle is now, I know we saw the episode where she did a hard shot, like a hard liquor shot, which I thought was funny. But she talks about how hard it was. It was good to have outside friends because it was hard to relax with the people who I wouldn't be living with, or it was easier to relax with people that she wouldn't be living with in 250 years because they weren't internally linked to her. Oh my gosh. I thought that part was hilarious. But she talks about she needed it. She needed the drink. She needed to take the edge off to be a good mom. We talked about that earlier at the beginning of the live, that it was a lot. She didn't drink a lot, but it was a crutch and something that she would do to deal with the constant rejection that continued outside of her windows of her home. And as she would work through the humiliation of being called a chubby girl, a chubby nacho girl, which I think that is one of the cruelest things that Cody could have ever done to her. And then Cody also called her dumpy in that book, which I'm just like, what the hell? And then she started realizing that she doesn't like the way that she looks on camera, but she never really clocked her weight. It was never a public thing. My weight has always been something that I've been conscious of since I was very, very small because I'm 6'2". And in my family, my whole family is tall and skinny, and I wasn't, and I was tall and big. And so my weight has always been an issue in my life. I've always struggled with it. Ever since I was really, really young. And I wish that I was as fat now as I thought I was when I was a teenager, because I was not that fat, but I didn't appreciate it because I always needed to be thinner because my husband was always looking for another wife. But I love this question that she asks herself in this chapter. She says, why am I not respecting and honoring my body? So she started to work out with Janelle. She started to realize, wait a minute, I could eat healthier, be healthier, start respecting my body more.
Learn to love thyself.
Yeah. Yep. And so she became more empowered. Her self-esteem increased and she became strong, which I loved. I loved seeing that part for her. She started working on loving herself for herself and not for Cody. This is a dangerous place when a woman gets to this place. It's dangerous for the man in her life because she becomes so empowered that what he says and does no longer has any effect on her. Mm-hmm. And I love this for her. I love this whole chapter for her. She hired a personal trainer and helped her to understand when you make decisions to take care of yourself, it's empowering. That is so much different than these women who have eating disorders in this religion, because all they're doing is losing weight for someone else. But when you actually care more about yourself, it does become very empowering. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Thank you, DJ Tag. It says, I know how hard it must be to relive this. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
To go back and be a child or young adult in this thing and to see it play out on TV and thank goodness I don't have to live this way anymore. So
yeah.
And I think the really reason that I started talking with you on this was because I wanted to be a face here on YouTube or for my nieces and nephews who mm-hmm. are living the way that we grew up. And hey, Uncle Corey seems like a decent human being and he's out there. So so I love her book, talking to her children, but talking to other people within the community going, hey, because we all lived some version of mm-hmm. trying to be kept into our place. If you thought for yourself or tried to become better at something, they would reprimand you and put you back in your place. So.
Right. And that's why this whole chapter is mm-hmm. really empowering And I hope a lot of women who live in this religion read this
Mhm.
particular chapter, because it is when you can get to the other side of that, where you love yourself because of who you are and
Yeah.
not what you look like, it's a whole different level of freedom.
Yeah.
And where we are stuck in this cycle of our husbands were always dating,
Mhm.
it's like that's all you cared about was losing weight.
And you're always trying to compete for a portion of his love, when you can love yourself and say, I'm worth more than
Mm-hmm.
what a priesthood leader or thinks that you're worth. When you create your own value within yourself, then all of a sudden the world opens up for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to attract people who love you for who you are, and not for where you're going to get them, because they know they can already get themselves wherever they want.
Right.
They're way more powerful working together as a team. But to know that we got this, we can create anything we want. So,
Well, and that's the thing in this is so many people eat their emotions. And she says this in the book, I stopped eating my emotions. And that's what's so counterproductive about this is this is such an emotionally charged way to live. And you're sad all the time when you are a woman in this religion. You're sad all the time. And so you do eat a lot. Some women do that. They eat a lot. Some women work out, but most of the time women eat their feelings. And this is why eating disorders are so high in this religion. I remember being 14 years old and going out on a date, like a group date. I wasn't able to single date, and going to a restaurant and eating a hamburger. And I went straight to the bathroom and eliminated that hamburger because we were headed to a dance. And I didn't want that sitting on my gut while we were heading out to a polygamous dance. And so this is very, very common. You're seeing a lot of women get literally physically ill and can no longer function as women because of their eating disorders, because it's easier to eat your feelings and then eliminate it afterwards. And then you don't have to worry about that calorie intake. And now you don't have to worry about your husband being ashamed or embarrassed or calling you dumpy nacho girl in a book for the whole world to read. Like, it's disgusting. I love how at the end here she says she occasionally enjoys a massive plate of nachos, and for some reason she enjoys them so much more now. Every aspect of her life got better, so she thought her relationship with Cody would get better too. And that's the lie that we tell ourselves as these young women is, if I'm just skinny enough, if I'm just pretty enough, if I'm just this enough, he's going to love me more.
Yep.
And it's always a constant strive for your husband's love and affection.
Yep. If I give him another kid, then he'll fall in love with me again, or
right,
whatever it is. So.
Right. So that is the end of chapter 22. There was a comment up there that I saw that I wanted to get to. Not Ladylike says, Christine must have been getting too much attention. Cody had to knock her back into her place. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so tragic is Christine is a genuinely lovable person. She has been my whole life that I've ever known her.
Well, she was the force, the connections truly that people were reaching out for them to get the show. And they didn't reach out to Cody and say, hey, you guys should do this show. They reached out to Christine and said, would you guys be interested in doing a show like this? And she presented it to Cody. And so I feel like that right off the bat, he's got to put her back in his place. I'm the one that's created. I am the leader. I am the priesthood holder. The show's about me and some sister wives, and she's snarking back at him.
It's not Cody and the sister wives.
He feels like he has to keep putting her in her place so that he feels elevated as the priesthood holder of, I'm the one that created all of this, when it wasn't. It was somebody else that put in the time and the effort and the connections to get this to come together.
Yeah.
So if he can keep her in her place, then she's just going to allow that money to be dumped into the family pot, and then he will have control over all of it as the leader. And so he's got to keep telling her why she can't be the leader, even though she's the one putting stuff together and helping guide them too. So
Yeah. Jamie Van De Walker says Robin gave him an office space and a garage for his car. He was there, but not there. Which is funny because that Christine points that out. Like we all had the same job. What was he doing that was so much different than what the rest of us were doing? And we did
schemes upon schemes.
And we did talk about that in the last book club. I was wondering why Cody was parking his car in Robin's garage. And I thought that was hilarious. It's because he didn't want the other wives to see where he was at. Let's see. I wanted to get to see if there's any more questions really quick.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Katie says they excommunicated all of her older brothers, but only the boys, probably because they wanted to keep all the girls to marry off to all the old men. It's very true.
Absolutely.
Catherine says, Cam, I'm thinking they probably look for excuses to excommunicate young men so that the old men can have several wives and they can't afford to lose too many women in that kind of a system. It's true.
You are encouraged to go outside of the community to get your first wife. And to prove that, so you're bringing more women into the community. And if you weren't doing that, they didn't want you around dating within the community. And so, you were definitely asked to leave. And then first thing I do is go out and start dating a council member's daughter.
Our daughter just joined us. We had to make her a mod because we didn't answer her phone calls when she called. So she had to drive to our house to figure out that we were live. And now we just made her a moderator so she can come and help us.
Hi, Livy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Livy Girl is our daughter. Let's see. Lindsay Campbell says Cody was only parking his car in Robin's garage. Right. Because because that's where he spent such a good portion of his time that it didn't matter if he was at the other wives' garages. It was only from sundown to sun up. At Robin's, it was all day, all night.
Well, what was his statement as a polygamist? You can park your car in tons of garages. Now as a monogamist, he doesn't get to park his car in
any garages
as much as he wants.
That's hilarious. Okay, so, chapter 23. You're really going to do that. I understand where Christine is coming from in this chapter. I think she got a little bit more heated than maybe she needed to be, but she talks about Cody's friend Ken and how he told Cody that, that Ken and another guy shunned Cody, complaining about his morality and calling him a sinner. Ken said he didn't want to be around Cody anymore. This is very, very common for people who convert from the Mormon church into polygamy. Probably any religion. My main experience is Mormonism. People tend to come into polygamy more from Mormonism than any other religion because polygamy was founded and stems from Mormonism. What were you going to say?
The LDS church is the gateway.
It's a gateway drug to
religion
polygamy.
Into polygamy. So it really is. So you come in there with all the new updated follow the living prophet stuff, and then all of a sudden you wait a minute, some of the old prophets said this, and they start looking at polygamous groups who all claim that they have the keys from the original prophets. So
it's true. And so, but a lot of polygamists will shun, or a lot of LDS people will shun people who convert to polygamy. Especially like my mother was shunned for years from her parents. It's very, very common because they're just so disappointed.
Well, because the Mormon church has been pushing the narrative, that they have not been living polygamy for 100 years now.
Yeah.
Or more. And so for 100 years, we have not been living polygamy. Well, for 2 generations, we haven't been living polygamy. And so they make it a point that if they find somebody living polygamy within their church, that they are excommunicated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. She says that they were told we would welcome him back with open arms, but you can only bring one wife. And I can understand why she was so wounded by this because, she's the third wife. She's ousted at that point.
Well, she's wanting Cody to stand up for his family. Wait a minute. I love all of these. She's wanting to hear that they are all loved. even though he writes in his book, they're not. So,
Well, and then she even
the
says that,
illusion
what
of-
happened to my maverick? What happened to the guy who was
Mhm.
going to stand up for his whole family, stand up for these beliefs? But I feel like at this point, now Cody's just wanting to defend Robin at this point.
Well, she's looking for him to stand up and be the priesthood leader and all of that.
Yeah.
But just like Robin, he says a lot of pretty words, but his actions are completely different. So,
Right. Right.
so
And then she just talks about that's fine if he wants to be friends with Ken. She just doesn't want him on their family vacation. I understand why she was so upset, because honestly, in polygamy, families don't get to take vacations very
Mm-mm.
often. And so when you do, you want it to be a exciting adventure that you don't want to share that with people who despise you and despise the way that you live.
despise half of you.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah. And then she just talks about Cody lectured everyone about having religious prejudices and told us that Mormons believe Mormonism is for everybody, while Cody didn't believe that polygamy was not for everybody. I asked again for an apology from Ken, and Cody said he would not ask for one. Something about making his testicles shrink. What were you going to say?
well, read that again, because I thought Cody believes that polygamy is because not for everybody.
Yeah, that's what he's. Did I not say that? So
Yeah,
she
it
says
sounded different.
he believes Mormons believe that Mormonism is for everyone,
Everybody.
but polygamy is not for everyone.
Yeah, polygamists
That's what we were
believe
taught.
that it is an elite few that get to live this way.
Yeah.
So only elite few, the most righteous of righteous, hence excommunication, get to live the polygamous. So you're
Yeah.
a chosen people.
So this is why it's so hard for people to believe. Why would you give that up? If you are one of God's chosen people, how do you choose out? Like, you are special. You are one of the elite of the billions of people that are born on this planet. You've been given something that 99.9% of all people who come to this planet are not given.
Yeah. Even to the point that my parents had to choose to be a part of it, where I was even higher than that because I had chose in a previous life to be born into it. And so they just rank you up and then put you down and then rank you up and put you
It's
down.
a mind effing game all the time. You're constantly getting mind screwed all the time, because it's like, oh, look at this. Oh, but don't do that. But oh, look how great this is. But don't do that. And it's just this constant up and down emotional roller coaster of, am I good enough? Am I not good enough? Am I good enough? Am I not good enough?
Well, and there's also here you were born into it and you've chosen to step out of it. You're going to be, that makes you a son of perdition. You don't even get to purgatory in the afterlife. You get to not exist.
Yeah.
You are recycled into matter because you don't even get to exist in the next life. So
right,
you go into nothing. Hell is a rank up from where you get to go, because you are born into this and you're a son of perdition now.
Yep.
So,
and you threw it away like it didn't even matter.
Yep.
Yeah. And then she just talks about how she told Cody right in front of now we haven't seen this episode, but I think I saw a clip of this where she says she told Cody to sleep somewhere else that night. So this is when he does the surprise, I'm at your house tonight. And all the sister wives went silent and looked away, because that's how they kept their relationships separate. No one wants to know when you're in a fight with your husband, except for that one wife who's like, come on over here. I'll treat you like my best customer. And then Cody talked about the extraordinary size of Christine's ego and said it was driven by her pride. That's the thing that I understand where she's coming from. They agreed as a family to put themselves out there to the world to expose this extremely religious, extremely sacred and spiritual part of their lives for the whole world to dissect and pick apart. And he can't even stand up to his own friend.
Well, I'm thinking what she is frustrated with on him is claiming that they're equal, that he treats all of his wives equal, but he won't even, if Ken had said something about Robin, his sweet, shy, loving wife, you know what I mean? he'd have probably said that inappropriate. You know what I mean? But he's
Yeah.
not treating the other wives. He's treating them like he always has. So
Right.
if Robin had made a stink about that, Ken would have been put in his place immediately.
Right.
So,
well, and that's what she says. Yeah, Cody, fight for our honor. And here's where her real fear lies from, is she's thinking to herself that if Cody decided to leave plural marriage and go back to the Mormon church, he would leave and take Robin and leave the rest of the family. And that's genuinely where her fear is coming from. And so it's making her reactive to the situation because she knows that she wouldn't be the one Cody picked. Why would you stay in a marriage like that? She didn't ultimately, but why? Why would you even want to be with somebody that you know he isn't going to pick you? And so
life,
yeah,
boys and girls.
Yep. So then she talks about how there's more to the story than what happened with Ken. He said he would talk to, so then he said he needed to talk to Christine privately, not in front of everybody, so that he didn't embarrass her, which then just embarrassed her even more.
I will be disciplining
you
right
in
now,
private,
but I'm going to make it private.
Yeah.
Unlike that book I wrote earlier.
Yep. So, and then he starts going off about her being that he talks to other people and he didn't agree with her take on the situation, but it must have been temporary female insanity. And basically talking to her, telling her she has PMS. And she comes to realize that she is going through menopause. She is premenopausal, perimenopause, whatever that's called. And then she goes into all the symptoms of this. This is definitely not something that is really talked about in polygamy.
Not within yeah.
Right. We don't go over a lot of bodily functions, a lot of, you find out about if you're a woman that you're going to start a period, you find out about all these things, but there's not real conversations. You don't go to your mother and say, hey, how do I deal with this? It's just not talked about. It's stuff that if you want to learn when you get older, you have to go out and learn about it. It's not something that mothers pass down to daughters, unfortunately. And so she just talks about, basically goes through all of the options. And so here, I love how she says that we don't talk about menopause or perimenopause because we don't see it as normal or sexy. There is so many things stacked against women in this religion. Garments aren't sexy. Your menopause isn't sexy. Your PMS isn't sexy.
And the men don't worry about it because they usually being put out to pasture a year or two earlier.
Yep. So, yep. Yeah. So then they're just like,
I don't have to deal with it.
You're on your period. I'm going to the next lady's house. No. So, then she starts.
He's with the younger wife who's not having the problems. So,
yeah. He just goes over to Robin's. She's got 10 more years before that hits her.
And eventually he gets a young enough wife, and then she takes care of him in his older age. So she's the, what is it? The bedside wife or the nurse wife.
Yeah. So she ended up calling her doctor Bean, the one that lives up here, which I think is the most hilarious name for a gynecologist, but here we go. He told her what's
the real word for it?
OBGYN.
There you go.
Yeah. So she told him that she felt like she had to have drink to be around her children, which is definitely not normal for her. Then she basically just goes into all of the different steps of what happens when you're going through all of this. I love that she said that she's trying to be an advocate for more women to learn about this. So she's saying it's going to kick your butt. Things aren't going to make sense. You can get help for it. It's my personal public service announcement, and we need to start talking about it. Again, women don't usually go to doctors in this religion.
Really needs to be talked about, all of it, within the communities of these polygamous kids.
Right.
So, yeah, it all needs to be talked about.
But where women don't usually go to doctors, can be such a sensitive subject. Mm-hmm. There isn't a lot of understanding and a lot of knowledge about it. And so there's not a lot of knowledge, and these women just feel like they're broken. And then it's like, your husband doesn't like you anymore. You don't like yourself. What do you do to fix that? So I loved that she talked about this was the lesson that she still needed to learn. was there's a ton of natural options to do. There's a ton of medical options that you can go through, and that talking about it is normal, and that wisdom is incredibly and indisputably sexy. And this is something that she still needed to learn. And it's so true. I really appreciated that. We're not going to go into all the details about perimenopause and menopause, but
it's good information.
Yeah, I appreciate that she talked about that.
Our age.
Right. So. Right. So we almost ended on time, but I wanted to get in here. I saw somebody with a question here. Catherine says, curious, even though you're taught you are the chosen one, isn't there a lot of fear and shame of living an illegal life? Are those the folks who feel blessed? Are the folks who feel blessed in such a bubble? Yeah. Because God's law come before man's laws. Mm-hmm. And it's illegal because that's a man's law. That's not God's law.
Yeah.
And
you're going to be blessed in the afterlife for breaking a temporal law to live a higher law. So
right. And so you will be blessed because you are able to do that. Let's see.
Thanks, Nicole. Angie.
What?
She just said I put out some merch. So I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So trying to come up with some, well, my daughter is really helping me on it and everything. So we're coming up with some good merch, but we did get out the nefarious revelation. So got it in a couple different items. Ordered my own so I can see what it looks like. It's going to be fun when I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll wear it on here.
Yeah, we've ordered some too. Ours is going to be on its way here. Anna G says, I've been noticing how Mormons seem to really think God grants wishes. I definitely would have been chastised praying to God for things I wanted for myself instead of a bigger, greater good idea. That's so true. That is very, very true. I don't know if he grants wishes as much as heart's desires. That would be that's the more spiritual term, I guess, is your heart's desires or your spiritual desires. If your spiritual desires are to have younger, hotter wives, then it's okay to ask God for that. What do you think?
You have to rub, I don't know.
What?
Temple door 3 times to get those 3 wishes or whatever it is. I don't know about Mormons. I was raised definitely in polygamy, and we were, ours was a pretty repetitive prayer. So it was more along the lines of the well-being of our parents and our brothers and sisters. So, and second coming of Christ. And I don't know, they got pretty fancy in their prayers. So that would be the righteous.
So Blessed Canadian says, Mel, wouldn't your mom have been a great resource and advocate for female health being in the natural health industry? She was for everyone but her own daughters. She did not talk to us about that kind of stuff. She was really great talking to everyone else, but she didn't tell us anything. And I think a lot of it is she just felt awkward and uncomfortable to talk to, especially me being the oldest. I knew nothing when I got pregnant with my first son. Nothing. I knew nothing about stretch marks. I knew nothing about birth and delivery. I knew nothing about literally anything. And I had a lot of anger towards my mom for not preparing me for that, because I didn't know we were supposed to use lotion to prevent, to help with stretch marks. I didn't know any of this kind of stuff. And I felt really angry that I felt like my mom set me up to fail by not talking and communicating with me about this kind of stuff. And, but she was great with everyone else. She just didn't do it with her daughters. And I don't know if it's just because I got married so young.
Yeah. I don't know about my sisters. My dad definitely had the conversation with us, and so did one of our mothers that was military. She would tell us about what we needed to do as boys. So
yeah, I think that's awesome that you guys were doing that.
They were very. So I don't know if they did much for the
for the girls.
Yeah,
My
I
parents
have
didn't.
no clue. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
So.
Somebody says, Desert Silence says, I heard myself saying PSR this week. That's hilarious.
Say that again.
Said, I heard myself saying PSR this week. Corey's like, wait, that's my term. I said that.
Yeah.
Anna says,
all dragged out.
Me at the Mormon temple this week. Open says me. That's hilarious. Oh,
rub that doorknob. See if you can get 3 blessings.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Somebody else says you and David would be very good friends. You're both great dads. I agree. I think that they would be very good friends. They remind me a lot of each other in so many ways.
Great sense of humor.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Always playing a clown too. Who else is like that?
I know. I think, and somebody, Katie says, I would like to request merch chapstick, please. Oh, he put that on there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He put that on there. He put that you can buy a whole case of chapstick if you want to. I was laughing. I'm like, you did what?
In the jumbo amount that Melanie usually orders them in.
They're cheaper that way. And I go through all of them. Olivia is on here and she's mocking me, but she is just as bad, if not worse than I am. So it's definitely, I passed it on to my girls. Let's see. So we are going to be we're going to be releasing season 4, episode 3. We'll just get that out there right away. I'm sorry we haven't done that yet. We didn't do a Special Forces last week because there really just wasn't a lot of Cody on Special Forces. And we just had so much going on. So we didn't do a Special Forces video. We will do one this week. I think that he's going to be on this episode a lot more than he was before. And we'll throw a couple scenes in there that we can watch with you guys. And that live will be this, oh gosh, we are babysitting grandbabies all weekend for the bachelorette party for our son's wedding. So we're going to try to get that live out maybe Friday morning, earlier in the afternoon before our grandbabies get here. And then we will be doing another book club next week, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be doing that. But yeah, if you haven't liked our other social media, our handles are right there in our channel profile, and we do a little bit more updates. So I blur out the babies' faces, but you can kind of see what we're doing on the weekends. I've been throwing up a little bit more stories here and there. Yesterday was my little brother's birthday. He would have been 31. He is my little brother with Down syndrome that passed. I threw up a tribute to him yesterday as well. So we didn't go live last night, but we've been doing that as well. So thank you guys so much for all the support that you've given us on our channel. We really, really appreciate it. We're going to be doing a live. My sister, Emily, she's got her own channel, Good Enough 444. She wants to come over and do a live. So we might be doing a surprise live with her and my mom tomorrow night. It's not so much of a surprise now, but we've been talking about doing that if my mom feels up to it. And my mom came up to Salt Lake. My mom lives about 2 hours away from all of us. And she came up yesterday for my brother's birthday. So that will be there. And then Olivia says, what doesn't need to be put on socials?
That doesn't need to be put on social.
That's funny. Catherine Perry says, Corey's name is too close to Cody's name. I know. I've said, as we've been talking about this, sometimes I've slipped and said Cody. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Can we get a shirt that says, oh no, not the Gentiles? That would be very funny. Thank you guys for all your shirt suggestions too. I wrote so many of them down. So we're trying to come up with logos for all of those. Somebody said, Mel, what's your opinion on your dad being the prophet? Are you in a way proud? I'm actually not. I feel like he is duped at a level that is beyond comprehension for me. And he's duping other people. And that's sad and tragic to me. And so I don't really have any pride about it at all, because I feel like he is perpetuating the abuse to so many of these people. And I think it's really tragic more than anything else.
Yeah.
And
because, it's almost like you excuse the abuse at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Well, it's because we're doing it for this reason or that reason. And then you move into the perpetuation. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You are the perpetrator of the abuse to the next generation, the next group of kids growing up.
And he's training other men to be abusive.
exactly to be righteous, if you will,
and
instead
honestly,
of being connected to his offspring. So,
well, and we really did think that things would be different with my dad. I really thought that my dad would come in and be more nurturing, be more loving, and it's been completely the opposite. And now I feel like all the power's gone to his head. He's even more angry now if you don't do exactly what you're told, when you're told, and how you're told to do it. Like, you think Cody is bad, my dad is a million times worse.
It's hard for you to show up once a week and then surprise later on in life that your kids, because you were off at church teaching somebody else your religion, and you show up back at your house once a week, if you were lucky, to tell your religious things, and all of a sudden none of your kids are living the way you are. So
it is. I just wanted to give a big, huge shout out to Nicole Aggie. Thank you so much. I always see your comments about, well, I don't always, because we get 1,000 comments, but I try to. You're always pointing out for people to like and subscribe. I really totally appreciate that. Because she says 208 likes, 570 watchers. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss any videos. If you can afford to, become a member. Merch is out now. Hype the channel. Thank you so much. Hyping the channel is actually really helpful, because you can hype a channel. What you do is you just go to the comment section, you swipe right, and then it'll allow you to hype it. And what it does is it tells the algorithm that this is a new video. They have to be less than 7 days old. This is a new video, and YouTube should push it out because it's a great video. So that's what the hype does. So I really appreciate that. I was telling my sister today, I'm like, if I don't have time to watch her videos, I just go in there, like and hype every single one, and then try to watch it later so that she can get that recognition too. So thank you guys. We really do appreciate the hyping.
You want to answer that one?
Which one?
Hummingbird B.
Oh, Hummingbird B. Was Lynn Thompson the worst prophet? In my lifetime,
Degrees?
Yes. But I don't know.
PSR.
I don't know if he would be considered the worst prophet, but in my lifetime, yeah, he had a lot of haters. It did a lot of division in the AUB. The AUV almost like split into like 4 different factions, if you will, because of the way he profited the group. I didn't agree with a lot of the things he taught either. So
I was gone. I was excommunicated by Owen. So so I don't know.
He was the reason I left the AUB. He was the man who was Googling at my daughter when she was 2 years old on the carpet.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Now I know which one.
I went to his family Sunday school, so I was very involved with his family. I knew him fairly well. And he was watching my daughter play on the carpet, and she was like 2 years old. And he was looking at her like, one day, little girl, you're going to grow up and one of us is going to get you. And I was just done at that. And I was so sick to my stomach about it that was the first time that I left the AUB, was over him watching her. So yeah.
So in your lifetime,
in my lifetime, I would say he probably was the least loved prophet.
Most divisive.
The most divisive, and the most, a lot of people had a really hard time with him.
So far.
Yeah. Yep. So far. We'll see where my dad goes. So that's it for tonight. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We have not done our video on episode 2 yet. We've watched it. We're all ready to go on TikTok. Yep. If you follow us there, I did 3 little videos on it over there, but follow us over there if you don't, and we will get that video out probably later today.